Let's talk about Java. For decades, it's been an absolute titan in the programming world. It built the backbone of the enterprise software we all rely on. But as we start looking ahead, toward 2035, it's really standing at a crossroads. So is it going to reinvent itself for this new world of cloud and AI? Or is it headed for a slow, quiet retirement? Let's dig in and see what the future might hold.
To really get what's at stake here, you have to start with the sheer scale of it all. Right now, Java is powering more than 3 billion devices around the world. That number is just staggering. We're talking about everything from the biggest enterprise servers on the planet to the Android phone that's probably in your pocket right now. That's exactly why the future of this language matters so much to all of us.
And that, right there, brings us to the big question of this explainer. With AI and cloud-native computing exploding, and all these nimble new languages popping up, is Java's long reign actually in trouble?
Okay, so before we dive into all the threats, let's first get a handle on just how powerful Java's empire really is today. Just look at the weight of these sectors. We're not talking about small-time apps here. This is the very backbone of our global economy. Think about it. Major banks, healthcare systems managing our data, critical government platforms, they all depend on Java for their most important, mission-critical work. It is, without a doubt, the undisputed king in these kinds of high-stakes environments.
But here's where the tension comes in. On one side, you've got Java's traditional setup, famous for being rock-solid and reliable. But on the other side, you've got these new challengers, right? Languages like Python, Go, and Rust. And they're often seen as lighter, faster, and just a better fit for startups building with microservices, which are basically these small, independent services that all work together. It's the classic battle, the established incumbent versus the quick, nimble disruptor.
And this is the part you absolutely have to remember. Java isn't just sitting back and watching the world change around it. No way. It is actively fighting back.
The entire Java ecosystem is pushing hard. You've got regular long-term support releases, major technical upgrades, like way better garbage collection, which helps manage memory more efficiently. And these cloud-native frameworks, like Spring Boot and Quarkus, they're making Java a real contender in modern cloud environments, delivering faster startup times and using a lot less memory. Believe me, this is not your grandfather's Java.
But all that modernization doesn't just erase the threats. There are some really serious dangers on the horizon that could end up defining Java's fate by 2035.
One of the biggest risks, it's all about people. A ton of coding boot camps and universities are now focusing on languages like Python and JavaScript, and they're attracting this huge wave of new developers. So you have to ask, if the next generation isn't really learning modern Java, who's going to build and maintain these critical systems in 10 or 15 years? It's a classic pipeline problem.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Perception really matters. If Java gets a reputation as an old language, it can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, where both the talent and the investment start to dry up.
Another huge danger is something called technical debt. A lot of these massive enterprise systems running on Java were built decades ago. They're these giant, complex beasts that are incredibly difficult and expensive to update for the modern cloud. This isn't just a technical challenge. It's a huge financial and strategic weight on these companies.
So what's the worst-case scenario if companies just stop trying to fix that debt? Well, it's that innovation in Java just stops. It becomes a language that's only used to patch up and maintain old systems, while all the exciting new development happens somewhere else.
So, we've laid out the risks, and they are definitely real. But this story is far from over. Let's look at the breakthroughs that could completely change the game and give Java a clear path to reinvention.
Okay, this is where it gets really exciting. Innovations like Project Loom are totally changing how Java handles massive workloads by using these new lightweight virtual threads. It makes it way more competitive for huge cloud applications. At the same time, you've got better integration with DevOps tools and a really strong push to work better with AI frameworks. It shows a clear, strategic path forward.
But look, all this cool new tech isn't a magic bullet. The enterprises that actually depend on Java, they have to make some smart, strategic moves themselves.
So what does that look like? Well, first, they've got to tackle that technical debt head-on, breaking down old systems into modern modular ones. Second, they have to invest in training their own teams on all these new Java frameworks. And finally, they should work with universities to make sure students are learning the Java of today, not the version from 10 years ago.
And this isn't just on the companies. Developers are absolutely critical here. The future of Java is really going to be shaped by the people who embrace modern features like reactive programming, which helps build super responsive systems, and who contribute back to the open source community. And of course, learning how to use AI tools to build better and faster is going to be key.
All right, so this brings us to the finals section. The future here isn't set in stone. It really is a choice between two very, very different outcomes.
And here are those two paths laid out side by side. On one hand, you have the path of stagnation. That leads to a fragmented, shrinking world focused only on maintenance. It's a slow decline. But the path of reinvention, that leads to a leaner, cloud-optimized Java that's ready for AI and stays a core pillar of the enterprise for decades. The stakes really couldn't be any higher.
And here's a fascinating thought for the future. As technology decisions get more and more influenced by environmental concerns, a super-optimized Java virtual machine could actually become a leader in green, energy-efficient computing. Talk about a modern priority.
So we'll end on this. Java's survival isn't really the issue. Its legacy is just too massive for it to disappear overnight. The real question is about its future relevance. And that's not something that just happens. That transformation depends entirely on the active choices being made right now, by organizations, by educators, and by every single developer out there. The future is truly theirs to build.